I'm dreaming of a fright-filled Christmas, just like the ones in Germany, wearing treetops that glisten. The Krampus still listens to the sounds of the screaming down below. And I'm dreaming of a fright-filled Christmas with every podcast that I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may your Christmas turn scary at night. Oh, I'm dreaming of a fright-filled Christmas, just like the ones in Germany, where der Bell Schnickel tickles those children who've been fickle, while Frau Perchta spills their entrails on the floor. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like Icelandic yesteryears, where the Gryla comes a-striding, her children bring bad tidings as they steal all the children and cook them in their stew.
What's up, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Welcome to episode 174, Pixelated Paranormal's Holiday 2020 Q&A.
Now, we should say happy holidays for everybody out there, no matter what you're celebrating, whether it's Hanukkah, Festivus, or any of the other multiple holidays out there.
Yeah, happy Festma, Christma, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and everything in between.
That was great.
Yeah, it covered a lot. You might have recognized that song in the intro. That was from Preston and I's old Christmas special where we talked about Krampus and the Yule Lads and Gryla and all of that. That was Fright Christmas.
Yeah.
Original.
Bringing out all the stops, right?
You know what? We try to roll out the red carpet for these folks.
Bringing out the greatest hits.
You know, because we
Deep
asked
cuts.
and you guys listened and now you asked and so we shall answer. We've got over 20 questions.
It's pretty insane.
It is really nuts. Yeah, it always blows me away. Just like the listener story episode for episode 150. We had to cut that baby into 2 episodes. We're probably going to cut this into 2 episodes, and this will just be our Christmas and our New Year's episode because there's a lot in here. But yeah, some people were very eager and asked 2 and 3 questions, so we appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then I think maybe a disclaimer at the top. This episode will be rated anywhere from PG all the way to NC-17. Holy crap, Shawn, maybe you have cut some stuff out that no one will ever hear. Depending. No, I won't cut anything out, but it's definitely not one for the kiddies to listen to. So, well, to get things started off, why don't we start off with our questions? We each came up with a question to ask the other 2. So, Steven, you want to go first, second, or third?
Cool. I'll go second.
Second. Preston, first or third?
Fuck it, I'll go first.
Awesome. Okay.
Boom.
So, what I want to know out of all the topics that we've covered, we really haven't deep dived into reincarnation. Mm-hmm. So, I want to know both of your thoughts on reincarnation. Like, do you think it's plausible? Do you think it's a real thing? Do you think it's bullshit? And then, I did a past life tarot card reading. So the other part of that question would be, would either of you do a past life reading with me for the show? Like we find some shrink that hypnotizes us and puts us in a past life regression. Would you be down for that? And then, do you think you've lived a past life? And then, what were you in your past life? Were you an Egyptian, or were you like a knight at the round table? So take it away, boys.
Okay. I'll go first, Preston. Mm-hmm. Do I believe in reincarnation? I don't know. At one time I kind of questioned it, but as life progresses and life experiences happen, it's not really a thought in my mind at the moment, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. Would I do the hypnotherapy and all that stuff with you? Absolutely. I think that'd be rad. I would definitely try that. I've always thought about that, but it's kind of intimidating too, because you don't ever know. You might come out. I don't know. All I see about hypnotherapy is in movies, so it might not be real. but
I always think of Communion whenever Whitley Strieber is getting regressed.
Yeah, like that's my thing. Is like
fucking French doors.
It's like, oh, have you been? I might wake up and realize I've been abducted my whole life, and that'd be insane. So,
damn.
Then that'd be kind of cool too, because then that would solidify my belief in everything. But it'd be terrifying either way. But and then the third part, Preston, what was it?
Like, do you believe you've lived a past life, and if so, like, what do you think it is? Like, what were you?
I've never had any kind of like experiences of like where I would feel that, because you kind of hear people say that, like, I don't know, it just comes natural to me, kind of like I've did it in a past life or something like that. Like people are like really talented at something strange that's out of their normal thing, but I don't really think so. I don't know. What would somebody have to experience to believe in something like that? That's my question. I mean, not my question for this, but
when Shawn gets done answering his, I can go into that for you, because I have like two experiences that really changed my perception on it. So
yeah, that'd be tight. All right, there's my answers, bud.
Cool. I do 100% believe in reincarnation. However, I don't necessarily believe that every single person is reincarnated.
Only the chosen few are the one that's got the best money.
Yeah, I think maybe it has to do with, and again, religious beliefs and whatnot. I think maybe only the lucky few or the worst of the worst get to be reincarnated, because there's stories of like, people who were complete bastards in like the 17 and 1800s being reincarnated into like homeless people or animals or all sorts of stuff. So like if you were a real asshole in your previous life, your reward is to basically be like a dung beetle or, like a blind cat or something like that, or just something crazy. There's so many.
So it's like a punishment or a reward.
Yes, you get punished or you get rewarded.
So like a punishment would be such as a disabled something, or something that's what would be described as lower. Because sure. Because like with reincarnation, I look at like, I mean, we've all seen a passed away animal on the side of a road, right?
Yeah,
it's common. Yeah. Somebody got reincarnated into that. That was its fate.
I mean, if
like,
you were a thief and you were really, if you were a thief and you were just very dishonest, maybe you'd be reincarnated as a fox or a raccoon, and then that was your punishment, that you'd have to forage off the land and inevitably just get hit by a car. There's so many stories of kids who talk about like, oh yeah, when I was my first life, or back in the war when I got shot, and they've got, birthmarks that line up exactly where, fatal wounds were on these soldiers, and they can talk about their wives and their kids and
that's creepy as fuck.
Stuff. Yeah. That's why we got to talk about that topic. So I do believe it's possible. I don't know that everybody necessarily gets to be reincarnated, because there's a lot of beliefs that in the universe and in heaven, in the sky, think of like a giant gumball machine. And then as soon as you die, your soul pops out as like a little orb, and it goes up to the top and plop right in the very top of the gumball machine. And it just sits there and waits until it finally becomes your turn to roll down the chute and get shoved down into a new baby. And then you start over. And it's the luck of the draw. You could be born, Caucasian, African American, Asian, Native, whatever. And you may not have that same race or that same ethnicity the second time around.
Interesting.
So yeah, we got to go more in depth because I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it. But do I think that I have a past life? I do not. I don't have any past memories of anything. Deja vu is pretty common for me.
Sasquatch.
But no, I don't necessarily think I have a past life. Nothing I can remember anyway. But yeah, I would totally get regressed, man. Because worst case, like Steve said again, maybe I can find out what some of the other weird shit I've experienced really was.
Yeah. So Steve, back to your question that you'd asked a little bit ago. So when I was a kid, I had 2 or 3 like reoccurring dreams that were almost like nightmares. So I'd wake up, almost like every night screaming or like upset. And like one of them was it was always like a bird's eye view. So it's like I'm watching this scene being played out. And so one of them was a older man who think of God, what was the doctor off of Jurassic Park? The old guy, John Hammond.
Dr. Hammond.
Like, you know how he always had kind of like the white pants and like the white shirt.
That fucking hat, dude. You're going to say the white pants, the white hat. Bro, it's the hat that ties it together.
It's not the hat, but just like this older guy who was kind of like in a white outfit. And
you can't tell whether he's a scientist or Santa?
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Plus, I'm like 3 or 4 years old, but he's always with like a granddaughter, and he is, they're in the house, and like he's like showing her something, and then like they feel like this almost like an earthquake, and then like I get super hot, like I feel like the room as I'm watching all this, like it's getting hotter, and then like these boulders, almost like lava, it's like crashing through. And then kills everybody. And, I had that dream numerous times as I was a kid. And then the second dream that was also always reoccurring was I was bird's eye view again. I was watching the Great Wall of China being built. And then there was like an attack on the wall and the workers were defending it. And I zoom in on this worker who gets killed. Like he gets a Mongolian. Yeah, he gets a Mongolian spear shoved through him, and then his wife and his daughter find the body, and they're crying over it. And then I start to float up, and I start to feel really cold. So I kept having these reoccurring dreams, and as a young child, I always had a fascination with the medieval time frame. So like, the Knights of the Round Table, the First Crusade, things like that, like the third Indiana Jones, like with that old Knights of the Crusade, burial ground, and then like awesome. the old dude in the temple, like that totally blew my mind. And so past that, when I was an adult, I started doing like past life regression meditations. And during one of the meditation sessions, I started to see like the meditation lights, and I started to see like this almost like an abbey. And there was a guy that was in like almost like a monk's uniform, and he was kind of kneeling over like an altar, visibly upset. And I heard this voice say like 1147 or like 1149, and that's all I got out of it. And so I looked up, I tried to Google search like people who were born, people who died in that year to see if I could get any hits. And I didn't really get anything other than that year was one of the years of the Second Crusade, and it was the first Gregorian calendar year of a leap year. And leap year happens to be the year that I was born. I was born February 29th, 1984, so I was born on a leap year. And then a couple years later, I was doing the meditation again, and I woke up, and my son was upset. He'd woke up from a bad dream, and I went to go down the hallway to see what was going on. And I lost my vision. Like all of a sudden, like my vision just went away, and all I could see were these fields, like the color, like almost meditation lights, but they were squares of yellow and blue. And when I got to his doorway, like I'm sitting here feeling around trying to find the doorway, and when I stepped through his door frame, I heard this female voice go, "William the White." And then my vision came back, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's fucking weird." Looked up everything I could find on William the White, and couldn't find anything, and so I just kind of pushed it off to the side. And then a year or two later, like, it was really kind of bothering me, like something just got my mind back on it. And so I started to look, William the White, Second Crusades, and there was a knight called William de Warren, who was in the Second Crusades. He died on the Battle of Mount Cadmus, and his nickname was William the White because whenever him and his brother were in a battle and shit started going sour, they would flee. They would go the opposite direction. So it was kind of a bad nickname. Like, they're basically kind of calling this guy a coward. And
what?
Yeah.
William
and
the Milksop.
Milksop. Yes.
And so there's this, spiritualists, when they talk about reincarnation, they say that everybody basically, once you pass away and you're in, the afterlife, you have about a 71 to 85 year period before you reincarnate again. And so I'm like, okay, if this is accurate, if these people aren't just blowing smoke up my ass, then I should be able to do the math and figure this out. So I think if I did the math correctly, if it was like if I go back every 72 or every 73 years, it lines up to being an exact leap year. And then I can go back every 73 years all the way to 1149, which was the first leap year in the Gregorian calendar. And during one of those 73-year periods, there was a Dutch colony on like an island in the Philippines that actually had a volcanic explosion in like the late 1500s, which also lines up on a leap year. And I think maybe that dream, that recurring dream that I had as a child about watching this grandfather and grandchild being hit by like a lava rock, could quite possibly be from that. So from having all those experiences, like, wholeheartedly, I believe in reincarnation.
First off, that is a phenomenal story, and thank you for sharing. And trust me, I don't mean this in any disrespect, but you are totally reminding me of Charlie Day in front of that damn board right now with all them strings, piecing it all together. That's wild, dude. That's awesome for real. I've never thought about any of that type of stuff, and like, that's so much research and years. Like, you're like fucking Nick Cage.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole, baby.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jesus. Holy shit, some angels and demons shit, man. I love it.
Yeah, and Preston, you've told me that a few different times over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's the same story every time. So I mean,
I'm still searching, man. Still searching.
Either you're a really great bullshitter or it really happened, Because I mean, that's a good sign of a true story, so to speak.
And
facts never change.
That yellow and blue square that I saw when I was entering Blake's room, his William the White's sigil, like his family crest, was a like lion or a dragon over a field of yellow and blue squares. So
and Preston's like, and I got a tattooed on my ass right here.
I'm thinking about
I'm dedicated.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm dedicated.
Do it.
What a great question, man. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Tight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, Steven, see if you can beat 17 minutes with your question.
That's right. My question is not as interesting, but I think it's important because we've dedicated a lot of time into this podcast. So my question to both of you is, what is the most impactful episode we've ever done throughout the entirety, whether I've been on it or Rob? Like, what's like impacted you, like has stuck with you? It's like, oh man, that was a killer episode. I'll always remember that. There you go. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
Because Preston and I have talked about this a lot. I mean, with you and without you, Steve, just in passing. I can't tell you any specific episode I've done that I, quote unquote, feel like it changed my life and made a big impact. But I can tell you the episodes that mean the most to me are especially the early cryptid encounters. We did Mothman, we did Flatwoods Monster, and so many others. We've had episodes where we've literally thrown together topics minutes before we jump on to record. And then we've had episodes like the Cryptid Encounters where we spend a week or longer, researching these things. I love those, all the Cryptid Encounters, but especially the early ones because, I'd sit here and be like, okay, what exactly really happened? And I'd read books and different websites and stuff like that, different accounts, and try to get the most consistent story from, at least 4 or 5 different sources. And then Preston comes in and he kind of peppers little facts on top of those, but then he's also like, oh yeah, and this song was pretty popular on the radio, and then this was this, and the history of like what else is going on, during these stories.
And if only we had our production we have now back then.
Well, what's funny is I want to say maybe, I don't know how many sound effects we added back then, if any, but I mean, I think right around episode, oh God, that probably would have been back in the 60s is when we really started paying attention to that kind of stuff. And so those to me are the most impactful because those were the ones where I'm like, man, there's a whole different side to researching that we would both bring in. And that to me is impactful because that I think pushes at least myself, and both of you guys too, to continue to set a bar and keep on trying to reach for it. And I mean, I still love the episodes where it's like, shit, there's nothing to talk about, guys, just find some weird ass news and we just bullshit for an hour. Those are, just as fun, but I love the episodes where we've done a significant amount of research about one specific subject.
Cool. Good answer, man. Presto?
Man, basically he what a bastard, because he kind of stole that from me. Because I would say the same thing, like looking back, if you look at, the first, 20 episodes, the first 50 episodes that we did, even before you came on. So like, all the stuff we did with Rob, and then maybe like the first 10 that we did with you, it wasn't, like it was a different feel because I don't want to say we were more serious with it, but it was very dry. Like, oh shit, we're doing a podcast. Like, okay, how do we do a podcast? And we had like a very like structure to it. And then the Cryptid Encounters happened. And then it's like all of a sudden it clicked. And now you're hearing the show of 3 really good friends come together. We have a good time. You hear the joking, you hear the laughter. It's a very organic feeling. And then, we started doing like the radio dramas, and each one of our personalities, come out in that.
I love it.
And so I think that, the episodes that mean the most to me are the episodes where our friendships really come forward. Like you can tell that here are 3 guys who really enjoy talking to each other, who bullshit with each other, who hate shit on each other. And it just makes for a very easy listening and a good listening. And so those are the episodes that I enjoy the most. So.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Most definitely. So, what about you, Steve, man? It'd be nice to pinpoint when I forget when you joined on officially. I know like Rob had left and Preston and I went on for a little while. And like doing the show with just me and Preston, it was just fine. But a lot of episodes deep down to me were like, it was almost a dick swinging contest. But not necessarily that, but it's like we
flexing on who knows
the biggest. Yeah, who's the biggest nerd? Who's got the most information here?
We both know a lot of this stuff inside and out, which is partly one of the biggest reasons why we're such good friends and what we bonded over. Yeah. But it's like hey, you know this story? Yeah, I know this story. Okay,
and that's funny because that ties into why my episode's my favorite.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So anyway, adding you in anyway, it added a whole new aspect because we have an audience member for 80% of these episodes in a chair next to us, so to speak. Like you're learning and hearing this stuff and giving us reactions that most people listening probably have similar reactions to it. So anyway, go ahead. What was your favorite episode?
So like Shawn was saying, I'm kind of like the skeptic. I don't really know much about this shit, so it's kind of hard and. I mean, we're gonna get deep here, people, on this podcast.
That's fine.
It's kind of hard for me to research any of this stuff because it doesn't interest me, and I hope that doesn't make anybody feel awkward and weird right now. And
no.
It's not that it doesn't interest me to listen to Shawn and Preston talk about it and engage with me in questions and stories. I love that because that helps me take in the information a lot easier. If I'm just reading off a website, Shawn, Preston say, this is what we're going to do, check out this website, I will go and check it out, but it's hard for me to keep engaged on that. So
you're not going to dive into like the 6th website about the same topic.
Yeah. So for me,
like, oh, hey, here's one fact I discovered after 6 websites that wasn't in the first.
So for me, that all changed when we decided to do the Mothman episode. Started the cryptid stuff, did the Mothman. Shawn was like, you got to check out this documentary, watch it. And that documentary changed everything. It creeped me out.
Oh,
it was like
from Small Town Monsters.
Yeah,
right?
It was so good. The animation was badass. I like that it was like a documentary and all the footage was just this like animation shit. And I thought that was so tight. And just like it was really spooky. And then we did the episode and it was really good. And it piqued my interest on something that I had never shown interest in before, like any kind of cryptid thing. So there's that. And then the other ones are the accents and stuff. I really like doing that. I've always found like impersonations and sketch comedy and skits and stuff like that always fun, radio dramas. So it gives me a little avenue to do that. And I'll finish my series of questions up with the ones you're not going to answer. The worst episode we've ever done, Bigfoot erotica. Done. Never again. God damn it.
Oh. And ironically, the thing we get requested the most.
I know.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Maybe
so
maybe
bad.
for the first episode for 21, I still have the lawn gnome erotica. Like maybe we should we should put that together.
Yeah, and you know what also we have? That can be the Patreon reward.
I know. We've talked about that before, putting up a much needed paywall for Bigfoot erotica.
Then we're going to be Pixelated Paranormal Podcast OnlyFans page, obviously. For audio only.
Good luck, folks.
Audio only.
Read that. Read the refund policy real close, because there should be a disappointment clause.
I don't think fans at that point would be disappointed, because as many people reached out to us, like they thoroughly enjoyed. And then when you bleeped everything out, like when I played that to Jeffrey, she said that like to her, like that was the pivotal moment where she just couldn't stop laughing, because she's trying to figure out like exactly like what the fuck were you guys saying for him to be like, burr, burr.
I mean, there were whole sentences where I'm just like, nope. It was so filthy. So maybe, okay, there's got to be an easy way to do it. I'll check with Mark and find out, because I don't want to do anything to hurt, what he's built, for over these years. But maybe we can put a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode, and then maybe we can start sprinkling in some of that.
Oh my God, I just got scared the shit out of.
What happened?
There's a massive spider on my wall, dude. This thing's mass. You gotta see it. Holy shit, thing made me jump. Look at that fucking thing. It's a beast.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
It heard Bigfoot erotica, and it's like, yeah, motherfucker.
Like, excuse me, Steven, did he say lawn gnome erotica?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we did enough disclaimers and we put it at the end, that way people have an option to bail and not miss anything in the middle, that'd probably be all right. I'll check with Mark just to make sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I can't think of anything where I've cringed. I mean, I go back and listen to the first, 1 or 2 or 3 episodes, and those were a little rough, because I still remember whenever Rob's like, let's do a podcast. And in that first episode, I'm like, well, hello, everybody. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, well, Jesus, first of all, call me out right off the bat. Second of all, it's a podcast voice.
I gotta put my Casey Kasem voice.
Oh my God, that is a spit. Yeah. I'm Casey Kasem.
I think if I had one episode that like I cringe at, it's the one that I had our guest on, my brother.
Yeah.
Just because like he is such a history nerd, and he can really like just break
outflex
apart.
you.
Now hold on, Jason.
Yeah.
That's something coming from Preston, because that guy, a shit ton about history too, Preston. Holy shit.
I do. And so for him, like, he's the type of guy, like, in some cases, I'm like Steve, like, I'll go to read a book and it's so dry. Uh-huh. I'm like, I can't ever touch this book ever again. I'm done. I don't even care about the subject that much. Like, I'm over it. but Jason will sit there and like deep dive all these books and just pull out these facts. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to have him on. He's going to talk about some biblical history, the Ark of the Covenant. And when he was presenting it, and I'm just like, dude, I can't fucking listen to that. Like, you are the worst speaker when it comes to a podcast. Like, you can't keep saying after every other word, and
it's hard though.
I'm like,
it takes practice to do that.
Yeah,
some people can be natural at it, but it's hard for some people.
So
especially when they're nervous, that's
I can't do it. I gotta roll over that episode and be like, yeah, there was this time that my brother was on our podcast, but I'm not gonna tell you what episode that was, so just don't listen to that one.
Oh wow.
Fucking cold.
No shit, ice cold, man. Damn.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, we've already spent so much time on our questions.
That's fine, man. We got plenty. This might be a 3-episoder. My question to you guys is, what is the one toy as a child, for Christmas or not, that you always wanted but you never got? Preston, what do you think?
I'll go first because
there's no one else to go first.
I mean, I could go, but
that's actually like a hard question for me to answer because as a child, I really didn't want.
You were a spoiled little asshole, huh?
No,
my daddy and mommy got me everything.
No. So usually, like, my parents always had a hard time buying for me for Christmas because they would ask me, like, what do you want? What do you want? And, I was just happy, being outside because, we grew up in the country or like going on adventures with dad. So I really didn't play like with a lot of toys. And, so when the Game Boy came out, that's, like 2 years down the road, I was like, oh man, all my friends have a Game Boy. Dad, I really want a Game Boy for Christmas. And usually, like, when I did ask for something, like, they made sure that I had it because I was one of those kids that didn't ask for a lot. So they knew that if I step up and said, hey, I want this, it was really important to me. So it was kind of like a guarantee for Christmas, like, dude, I'm going to have this fucking Game Boy. I'm going to have this fucking Game Boy. And we got to opening up presents, and there was, like, plaid shirts under the tree, fucking, bunny pajamas under the tree, like underwear, socks.
And a handheld tiger.
Yeah.
Tiger.
No. Like, so I'm sitting there trying to like keep my cool. Like, I'm not going to lose my shit because I got like, I got this cool flannel shirt, but I wanted that fucking Game Boy. And there was like one present left, and it was like to Jason, and dad kept like acting really weird. And I'm just like sitting there like on the verge of tears. And Jason opened it up and he's like, oh man, that's a really cool, Beatles collector cup. Thanks, Dad. And I was like, let me see it. And Jason's like, dude, fuck you. This is my cup. Like, go get your own fucking Beatles cup, you little twerp. And so I was really upset that I didn't get the Game Boy. And then I was more upset that my brother was being a dick. And he's like, well, just, you know what? Go ahead and throw the box away for me. And so I like grabbed the box. He's like, but don't fucking look in it, man. It's just trash. Just go do what you're fucking told. And so then I went to the kitchen, and he's like, what the fuck's taking so long? I told you to throw the box away. And then I opened up the box, and there was my fucking Game Boy that I wanted.
Whoa.
So that was a dick move for mom and dad to almost make me cry on Christmas, but I ended up getting the gift that I wanted. So.
And then Jason wanted you to throw it away so you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He's been a dick since birth.
Dude, you were really Kevin McAllister. Everybody hated you.
Everybody hates Presley. Everybody hates Chris. That's crazy.
That's fantastic.
Man, you're bringing all the heat tonight. No wonder why you want to go to a hypnotherapist.
Oh God!
Just to let you know, this is my weekly therapy, guys.
Holy shit, that's great.
It kind of feels that way sometimes, doesn't it?
So it's a hard question, man, because I come from a family where the same thing. Like, I really didn't ask for anything because if I did, you would have got beat or you would have got yelled at. So you never really asked for anything. But I did get blessed with some things from my parents. So and now that I look back at my childhood, like, I actually got hooked up a lot more than my brother and sister did. So like, I too received a Game Boy, Killer Instinct bundle, holla at your boy, from Walmart. And that was like really impressive. But I think that was for my birthday. So for like Christmas, I always really wanted a Freddy Krueger glove. I didn't know if they made them. I didn't know if they had toys of them. I just really wanted one. So like, and I would have even taken like a made up one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And like that, I never got that. And I think that like if I was a parent, I would just make my kid one, even if it looked ghetto. I'd be like, look, here you go. Like, I don't know. It's really, I don't know. It's really hard to answer that question because everything I ever got, I was pretty grateful for. Because like I was literally just having this conversation today. When you're younger, you don't really think your life is that bad. Like you do on like a superficial level.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But like when you look back at it now, like you ask your parents, how the fuck did you raise two of us,
mm-hmm. Sure,
on less than 15,000 a year? You know what I mean? Like weird shit like that. And like you think to yourself, well, like we think, well, we need to get our kids this and that. And not really. You just got to keep them fed and clothed and hygiene and safe, you know, and
right. Yeah.
healthy.
The necessities. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's really weird to think about that. But so as for Christmas, I don't know. Freddy Krueger glove would have been tight. Thanks, Mom and Dad. It's a hard gift to get.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Or to give a fucking 7-year-old kid.
Yeah. Real nice, honey, so be careful.
Yeah.
Mine is simple. I wanted more than anything Beetlejuice toys. Do you guys remember how badass those Beetlejuice toys were?
Yeah.
Man, each one you could pull the head off and they'd be shrunk.
Yeah.
Each one had like a different feature, like the neck would elongate like a snake on the Big Time, I think it was called Beetlejuice, where you had like the black and white stripes with the hat.
Do you not know this? Well, it's yours, dude.
Well,
it's literally sitting in my room.
This is what's funny, Steve. First of all, thank you very much. I appreciate that. The end of the story is how I got one Beetlejuice toy. It's the exact same one that you've got.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you had one because I remember I got an extra one.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh yeah, that fucking one. It's like, that's the only one I see everywhere.
I know, that is the common one.
The shrunken head guy.
Yeah, he's got
probably the hardest
costume and like the vampire bat carousel head, right?
Yeah. It's like the one little scene where he actually has the carousel. Like,
Yep.
It's like, why the fuck make a toy about it?
I wanted those Beetlejuice toys so bad, especially
they're dope.
The Vanishing Vault was like a crypt, like a grave, and you could put your Beetlejuice toy into it and then close the lid and open it back up, and there was a mechanism that would flip it inside like a pancake, and then underneath it was a compartment that had like a miniature Beetlejuice, and you'd be fresh. Oh man, I just made my big Beetlejuice into a little Beetlejuice, and I wanted one so bad. And I mean, again, like,
that's awesome.
Looking back, I'd love to know the analytics of how much my parents made. I never went without. I never got everything I asked for, but I never went without, and I had plenty. But for whatever reason, He-Man, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, Toxic Crusaders, G.I. Joes, all that crap. I just never got Beetlejuice toys for whatever reason. And I remember, like, when Beetlejuice toys were a thing, I would still get Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man. I just never got Beetlejuice.
Did you watch Beetlejuice? Did your parents watch it with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The movie, the cartoon. I don't know if it was just a little too dark, and that's why.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if your parents are a little more, conservative with things. Do you think that maybe? I think that's probably what it is, because both the cartoon and the movie. Some very suggestive shit in there for adults.
Yeah, it was definitely a little raunchy.
It's almost like, should that be rated PG-13? I mean, well, we only had one fuck.
Yeah, but
nice fucking model. Then he grabs his nuts. Well, PG-13.
it was pretty vulgar for a child. But I just remember wanting those toys so bad, and I never got them. Never happened. And I used to think like, oh man, it's my birthday, gonna get Beetlejuice toys. Never got them. Oh, Grandma's coming over tonight. She said she had a surprise for me.
Next time I see your parents. Hey guys, I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Did you ever get Shawn those Beetlejuice toys?
What's up on the Beetlejuice toys?
But yeah. So anyway, I ended up somewhere down the road. I ended up getting an opened loose figure of the Big Time Beetlejuice that had the head. I forget what happened to it at this point. It's probably at Mom and Dad's in a toy chest or something like that. But yeah, I did end up getting one, but I was, probably middle school. It's probably like a garage sale or something I picked up. But
hell yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 4 or 5, my grandmother got diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, and she started to go downhill pretty quick. And so by the time I was in the second grade, it had got to where it spread into her neck muscles. Mm-hmm. She lost the ability to eat and was bedridden, so she basically kind of starved to death. So right around 4 or 5 years old, she kind of knew my time here on Earth is pretty limited. And she lived about 3 hours away, so we didn't get to see her as much as Mom would have liked. And one of the times that I went up there, I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but there used to be these little toys. They were kind of like monsters in your pocket, but they were in trash bags, and you'd have to put the trash bag in warm water, and you'd watch it dissolve. And then you'd reach your hand down into the sink or whatever you put it in, and you'd get this little collectible figurine. And I thought those were the coolest things, but Mom and Dad always thought that they were stupid. They're like, one, it makes a mess, and two, they're not articulate. They're just a little fucking. We don't want them all over the house, right?
Grandma shows up with a trash bag full of them, puts them all in a tub.
Well, kind of. We went to go see her in Emporia, and she's like, "I want to take you shopping today. What do you want?" And I'm like, "Oh, I really want these fucking trash bag toys." Mm-hmm. And she looked at them for a second, and they were $3 or $4 a piece. So she just fucking took her hand and swooshed a whole bunch into the cart. And she's like, "All right, let's go home." And Mom's sitting there bitching the whole entire. I can't believe you're spending money on this. And she's like,
awesome.
Colleen, shut the hell up. And then my granddad's like, what the? And she's like, Jack, shut the hell up. And so we went into the kitchen. She's sitting there filling the sink up with hot water. And she's like, all right, dump the next one in. And she's like, oh, let me see. What did you get? And she was just trying to make it a really memorable moment. Which, out of all the things in my childhood, that's the one thing I look back really grateful that she took the time to do that, because
God damn, Preston, you were bringing the fucking heat tonight. It's crazy. That is so cool, man, because it shows you that your mom was like, why, your granddad, why, but she knew you were going to remember this shit forever. That's tight.
Now I wish I could go find those fucking trash bag toys unopened, so I could be like, all right, kids, let's.
And these were the ones you would drop in the sink or whatever, and they would dissolve.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there'd be some hideous monster, an eyeball popping.
Yep. I remember
popping
those
out of
exact toys. I only ever
ooze
bought
or whatever.
one. And it was because my problem was this. I had an allowance. I would get, are you sitting down for this, kids? I would get $8 a month. $2 a week was my allowance. I could get it $2 a week, or they'd give me $8 at the end of every month. And I'd go to Walmart and I could buy, if I planned it right, I could normally get 2 Ninja Turtles. And then I remember seeing the trash bag toys, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, trash bag toys, $5. And then I took it home, opened it up, put it in the sink, dissolved it, and I'm like, fuck yeah, little monster. Huh. I still got $3 left, and it's not enough to buy a Ninja Turtle. This thing barely comes up to the knees of a Ninja Turtle. These are dumb. Now the next
Problem
time around,
solving as a child.
Yeah, the next month I still had my $3 plus my $8, so I bought 3 Ninja Turtles. And you would have thought I was the toughest shit on the block walking down the street. Man, I got Baxter Stockman, and I got this one that has a basketball around his neck. And
now fast forward to 2020. Now, if they give me an allowance of $10 in V-Bucks this day, but I buy this for only $8, it gives me $2 left over. Then I don't have any V-Bucks, because then I got to ask the mom and dad for more money, which is $10 to $20, to spend another $15 to get $5. Yep.
But
it's crazy how times change.
But it's all right, because Congress is going to give me $600 for allowance.
Yeah.
No shit. Well, listen, I might put this at the end of the episode. For as long as we've gone, it's been 45 minutes, and we're just not getting to this.
Let's just let it roll.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut things here for this episode, because we go on for another hour and a half answering the first round of your guys' questions, and we barely got through the first 7. So we're going to cut it here, guys. We'll jump on episode 175 and begin to answer all your questions, because I think we got, like we said earlier, over 20. So I think we're going to go ahead and call this a 3-episode series. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for all your questions, and join us next week, and we will begin to answer all those lovely inquiries. Until then, Stay safe and stay on the paranormal highway. Merry Christmas, happy Festa, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa to everybody. And then happy whatever you don't celebrate. If it's another day for you, we hope it's a good day.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Let's plug real quick. Steve, what are the Instagrams and Facebooks?
Instagram, PXL Paranormal. And the Facebook's Pixelated Paranormal Podcast. Hit us up on both of them, on the likes, the comments, the shares, and everything in between. We really appreciate it. Also hit us up on the iTunes for a 5-star or whatever you think is a fair review. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
And like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on the YouTubes. Please continue raising those numbers up. Check out the rest of the shows on the Pixelated Sausage Network. Speaking of YouTube, check out Attack the Backlog. Check out the other podcast. Our 13 Nightmares episode for Scream should be out very soon, before the end of the year, I swear. It's taking a little longer because, quoting Jeff Goldblum again, life happens. Or life happens. Check out Animes.
That's not it either.
What is it?
You failed. Life has a way.
What did I say? Life happens. Bitch, I've been drinking.
Life happens. Shit happens. That's why we wanted the Scream episode up.
Yeah. Please, and then also check out Mark Solo's show, Pixelated Sausage, and then check out Unamazingly Baka. Or Unamazingly Baka, Jesus. Preston, what do you have?
And as always, if you need a beard, if you want a beard, if you want to grow the best holly jolly Santa Claus beard this season, check out BigDobsBeardBalm.com and use promo code PXLPARA for 20% off your order, and pick yourself up some scents like Dundee Cedar Bay Rum, Sweet Tobacco, Fresh, Citrus, and Classic, and Mint.
Oh, yeah. And just to throw back to last episode, Sweet Tabasco is not a flavor of beard balm.
Sweet Tabasco.
Shawn wishes it was, but not yet.
But do I? That's probably smelled terrible. All right. Any last minute holiday shopping or any post holiday shopping, please stop down at Pawnee and Seneca CD Trade Post. Say hi to Leslie and the gang for us. Go in there and pop in, pick up some new movies. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty drunk.
Vinyl, any kind of retro games, anything, man. There's so many good deals in there. They're a good group of people down there.
Yep. Oh yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else, boys?
Nope.
That's it. Merry Christmas, and we will see you
for New Year's.
2020. Yeah, 2021.
No, we still have another episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
Preston, time jump, man.
Yeah, buddy, part 2 should come out on New Year's Eve.
Ooh.
Preston, you're not the doctor.
Yeah.
Can't time jump.
Yeah, son of a bitch. You can't sleepwalk, though. And with that, I say cheers for the weirdest shit in the world and those of us that love to talk about it.
And stay spooky and stay on the paranormal highway.
The cast at Pixelated Paranormal would like to thank you for listening to this week's episode. Pixelated Paranormal is here to tell you tales of the fantastical, the strange, the unknown. Tales that will move you a little further down the paranormal highway. If you'd like to share your own listener story, we would love to hear it. Email us at pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. Again, that's pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you. Again, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.